Howdy, all Mulclax Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright. That's not the ladder. Oof. I almost tried to climb down the back of that thing. What is up with these? Why are you just floating out in midair, man? This is going to make my tower collapse right here, isn't it? I feel like somehow they're magically connected still. Alright, let's see. Where did we head off to? So my bed is still there. So I guess we could head back there. Looks like if we just head north from here, we can hit some trails. It'll take us out that way. Yeah, I posted a bit in my oh, oh, you waking up there, game? What are you doing? Oh, it was switching between night and daytime. Uh, so yeah, I posted a little bit in my D&D game, my online one that I run. And yeah, started getting a bunch of replies from a couple of the players. So looks like maybe they're gonna. Oh, really? You can't. You can't bike up the mountain? I mean, it's steep and all. I wouldn't want to try to climb it in real life, but I feel like maybe in the game. Okay, why don't we go that way? Is that better for you? So I'm doing it's got nothing to do with anything. I just, I thought it'd be fun. So in my head, I've got this world, right? And it's a sci-fi post-apocalyptic kind of D&D, where society's like half thrown back into the dark ages kind of thing, half still have some leftover technologies, and um, it's because of the loss of the global world and space mining and stuff like that that's just gone at this point, and so they really can only rely on what they have access to um, in their small cities, and so they don't have access to chemicals and materials that wouldn't be needed to fix things, and so um, a lot of their technology comes from scrounging, and so I do try to throw bits and pieces of that into the storyline as we're going, and so they're in this town which they didn't need to go to. Uh, but they decided to go to the town, and I mean nothing's supposed to happen there. They bought some magic items, because unlike my Wednesday night game that I play in, I don't mind my characters having fun magic items every once in a while that they'll find useful. Uh, and so, like for example, the some of the players in the Wednesday night game or the online game that I'm running don't have night vision. Well, not having night vision kind of sucks, right? I mean, it's fine if you're leaning a little more hardcore than we play our D&D games. And I'm not saying we don't, run vicious combats and stuff. But I feel like there's it's it's kind of what I like to do, when I'm playing a video game. I don't mind there to be dark, but I don't want it to be necessarily so dark that you can't see, right? And so, with D&D, rules are weird when it comes to sight, and having two of the characters out of four not be able to see at all in the dark, and then the other two characters be able to see in the dark, that's not fun. And so I wanted to give them something that well, I didn't give it to them. They had to buy it. I want to give them the option to pick up something, and so I basically gave them just a little communications headset that has a snap-on flashlight that lets them, have a hands-free flashlight, so they can continue playing the game like normal and just have some light. And let them to communicate with each other if they get separated and stuff, because not being able to talk to each other also, not that they do any talking anyways most of the time. uh so there was another thing that they could have picked up that they opted not to, was a mapping orb that would just use like sonar and stuff to map the area, and then I could give them a map of the area, kind of thing. But they opted not to buy that one, and um, so um, so now they're getting ready to leave, and I'm like, okay, so we got the city, and it's not necessarily near, but it's about a quarter of the way to where they're going, and I feel like a city on the surface would be visible from the fortress city that's along the same route as they were taking. And so I decided that this city has sunk in the ground, and so the few thousand people that live there, they live on terraces around the outside of this sinkhole. It was a much larger city than what they live in, and so a lot of the city is actually, has slid into the giant chasm that opened up, and so right now they're I like to kind of, I don't know, make it like, oh man, was that kind of thing. And I feel like maybe they haven't read as much or been exposed as much sci-fi as I have, and I'm finding the lack of concepts of what is happening to be kind of fun. Um, but basically, a giant mining mech that has been down below in the chasm, mining up useful materials. Broken bits of electronics and sheets of metal from buildings and vehicles, and um, dried out sewage systems that would be useful for fertilizer at this point, kind of thing. I think maybe even useful for making gunpowder. Um, I think you can do that with dried out sewage, but it's one of the ingredients. And so so it's going to be coming up with all that stuff, as well as not as long as well as things that they actually, like, the crew scavenged out of buildings they've dug into while digging around in the huge collapsed city that's underground. And so that's about to come to the surface, but they don't know what it is, and none of them have ever been in this town before, basically. And so, like, there's huge thumping coming out of the chasm. But then I also, like, there's 4 carts being pulled by giant oxen, um, and they're just sitting there at what looked to be like docks hanging out over the or piers hanging out over the chasm. And it's like, oh, well, what can I see in the chasm? And so I have them roll a perception, because this is a time when they roll perception. I don't like I don't like I don't like a winner take all system for a lot of the skill checks. And so perception is one that I think is easier to do if you imagine it as a sliding scale. So the better they roll, the more they can see. But unless they roll really bad, they're going to see something, right? And I often don't. It's it's because I play my game in person, on Wednesday nights with the DM who annoys me most of the time as a DM, because he makes us roll perception for everything. We're like, what's in the room we're standing in? Roll a perception. Um, and I think some of that is because we play written adventures, and the adventures are they have like, if they do a check for secret doors and they roll above this perception, then that's, they found the secret door. But I feel like that should be something that happens when you go, well, I'm going to check for secret doors, because you have to check for traps specifically. And um, although I think he just, I don't know, we're always rolling perception checks, and I just feel like it's too much. If you enter a room and it's visible, then I should be able to know it's there. I shouldn't have to roll a perception and then you get like a 1 because that matters to him. And then he's like, oh, well, your guy is really interested in this rock stuck in the wall. So my highly experienced, never mentioned a like for rocks before, you know, warrior, who's level 8, almost level 9, is suddenly interested in wall rocks. Oh, nice. So yeah, I don't think that's a thing. So I tend not to do that when I run a game. I just, I'm like, this is what you see, and then if they want more detail on something, then maybe we roll a perception to see if they get more than the general description that I gave out for wherever they're at. And so this is a little different though, because this they had to look down a chasm in the darkness for something that they can't see and they don't know what it is. And so your brain is a tricky thing when it comes to the unknown. And and so, ooh, this person was, oh, iron boots, huh? A level 5 blunderbuss. Uh, and so it has problems showing you things that you don't have concepts for. And I'm wearing padded leg armor still. Oh, those are boots. Let's switch the... I'm surprised I'm wearing padded leg armor. I thought I had better than that. Oh, that's a cupboard. Sorry, I thought that was a door. And, so this is something they have almost no concept of. They don't have anime to watch. They don't, there aren't giant robots walking around in the area they grew up in. Um, that'd be cool. And I could have had that, I guess, but I didn't. There are giant robots, don't get me wrong, and I do plan on eventually have them come across some, but I'm not there yet. Uh, I've been trying to figure out, because I don't necessarily have the layout for it. Like there aren't rules necessarily in place, but I thought it'd be cool if they found like a vehicle that they could use once they get out on the road, that maybe allowed them to upgrade it as they go. Because I always like that in games, right? Upgrades, better engine, better armor, uh, mounted weapons, you know. I'm not certain. I'm not certain about the mech end of things, though. I don't know if they're going to find a mech, because if they do, it's not going to work until they fix it. Uh, but anyways, so that's what's climbing up out of here, and so the one of them is like, oh yeah, I wanna see what's down in the chasm. I'm like, all right, so roll. And so remember, I like the sliding scale, and the sliding scale works like this. Uh, a one is terrible. One is a one is like the lowest you can get. So if you roll a one on the dice, that's just that's an awful. Like you might see it, and I might describe it a little differently than what it actually is, kind of thing. Um, uh, and so a ten is considered average. Everybody pretty much starts at 10 across the board, right? And then you put points onto the 10 to bring it up or down, kind of thing. Well, I mean that's not really how we create our characters, but a 10 is considered average. If someone can do it, it's a 10, right? So can you pull open a wooden door that's rickety? Sure, that'd be a 10. Uh, you know, and so that's something I would expect the average person to be able to do. And so I base my sliding scales off of that number. So a 10, he'd get a general description of what he sees in the hole. He rolled a 9. So it's a little dark for him. He doesn't have night vision. It's a little farther down than he can see, but it's got lights, so he can kind of see something coming up, and he can kind of see that it's got arms, and that it appears to be crawling up out of the hole, and so that's what I described to him. Well, another guy who hasn't responded in a while suddenly responds, and he's like, "Well, I want to see what's in the hole." I'm like, "All right." And so then he rolls much better, and so I'm like, "All right." So you can see how many arms it's got, and you can see that it's a machine of some kind, and that it's using, handholds climbing up out of the wall. So I mean, there isn't. I guess I just did this place. There isn't like a big difference between what they saw. You just get more detail. You're both going to be able to see it. Even with a one, you'd be able to know something was climbing up out of the hole. It's just that a better number means a better vision. And yeah, so that's where they're at right now. Although then the dude who hasn't responded in a while, he says one of them is really good at responding, and so I feel bad because he's usually within a day or two responding to things, and then one of them hasn't responded in forever. I play with him on Wednesday nights, and I keep saying, "Dude, are you gonna play?" Yep, yep. I'm really behind, and I need time to catch up. And I'm like, well, I mean, are you gonna do it? Yep, yep, yep. I'm gonna do it. He still ain't done it. And then the other guy, I don't know what his problem is. I know him, and I don't know why he isn't a little more responsive, because I know what his day-to-day life is like since he's my nephew. Um, and so my nephew, he finally responds, and he's like, "Are we still trying to get to that island?" And I'm like, "Island, island." I'm like, "Are you talking about that island where the tidal wave came in and you got shipwrecked, and then you got rescued, and then you had to work your way inland to another city?" before you fought the saboteurs on the train, and then, like, you were part of that. You've We fought the saboteurs on the train, and then you got arrested and uh, taken to the general who runs the military, and now you're on a mission to go to basically the CDC in Atlanta. Oh, nice. You think this place is gonna have potatoes for me? I didn't realize that's what I was looking at. This is my potato place, right? Potato plant. Give me those potatoes. Aloe vera. Yeah. Yeah, we just got potato. We now have potato. Potato. Just needed 5. Total. I've got 1 back at home. There's 4. I now have a potato to plant in my garden. Stews incoming. That is a big find. That is a major useful find that I feel often is one of the more difficult things to get my hands on. Is that 5 potatoes to start growing potatoes. Corn everywhere. Potatoes, can't find them. Get out of here, punching me. But yeah, so that was quite humorous. I don't. Like, dude, you've been responding. You know where we're at. We had a discussion in person. What do you mean, is this back at the island? Oh, jeez. I knew you were there. Ah. No. Oh, why did you go to shovel? I was trying to go to my pistol. Oh, but you know what? My bed is here in town, so that's not so bad. But yeah, that'll be fun. I introduced a couple of new side characters that serve no purpose, but sounded cool. Um, they have met Bosco the Giant. He just wants to help out. And his half snake Yonti mother, Mama, he calls her. It's so in D&D Yonti are evil, but in my game, evil's not a thing. You're just good or bad. You know, some people are good, some people are bad. Most people are just wanting to live their lives without being interrupted. And even the bad guys think they're good guys. So, um, I mean, the current bad guys think they're the good guys, and there's very good reasoning why they think they're the. Oh, you know what? I want to go to my bike, not my bed. I don't know what I thought I was going to do at my bed. What's going on over here? Why you got this shiny light pointing at this body in a grave next to a landmine? Um, the bad guys in my game that I'm running are basically what has happened is I mean, a lot of stuff has happened to get to the point they're at, but one of the major so there's 2 Earth-changing events that caused the end of the world. Um, one was a comet. Um, that had some pretty major repercussions for a lot of things besides the fact that part of the comet hit Earth. Um, and so the one big thing from the comet is that some aliens tried to stop the comet from hitting Earth. What's not known to the players is that they were in hiding from another alien group and are trying to stop the comet. Required them to come out of hiding, and while they were trying to stop the comet, the other alien group attacked them and also attacked the one of the human colony ships that was trying to flee the planet before the comet hits. And so they don't know that yet, but that's one of the big events. That event probably caused the most damage physically to the planet. And then the other major event that happened was because of the damage to their ships, the aliens had to land on Earth. And after they landed on Earth, their technology is nanotechnology based. They're nanites, and so they live in their atmosphere is seeded with nanites, and so that's how magic works in my game. So magic is just it's magic, but it's science based, right? I mean, it's science fiction based, I guess. And so to be able to do magic, you have to be um, attuned, basically. Not the actual attune mechanic. If you're a magic user, you're just a magic user. But it's science based, and so you have to have an ability to manipulate the uh, tiny robots that are in the atmosphere to be able to, you know, channel electricity through the atmosphere or fire or create things, uh, shift the earth to the side, change the direction water's flowing, whatever spell you're casting, heal people, it's all nano based. So, dang it, I hate when I'm out of stamina when I'm trying to fight. So, the aliens seeded the atmosphere with their nanobots, and but only they were able to manipulate the nanobots, and so the humans, being humans, some of them tried to seize control over the alien technology. Not from the aliens, just, kind of like another Cold War. And so, in the process of trying to get ahead of other countries who are doing research on the, um, nanomachines, while the planet seems to be just about breaking up, earthquakes and volcanoes and flooding, and so in the middle of all that, and the aliens trying to help and establish a foothold, some of the human groups managed to crack the coding in the nanomachines that the aliens wouldn't give them power over, and created their own interfaces to operate with the nanomachines. And so the eventually had a problem with AI that went crazy and decided it was going to rebuild the planet, kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn, I guess. I just realized that my subconscious may have stolen the idea from Horizon Zero Dawn. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, I'm like, that's the storyline to Horizon Zero Dawn that I've got going. And so it was turning everything to gray goo, though, and which is one of my favorite science fiction horror concepts that you don't really see get done too often. And so, oh right, I was like, what killed me Stupid buzzard on the roof. Oh, hey. Didn't see you hidden there. And so, the countries, all the countries that had an interface basically lost control of their interfaces. And so they had to go to war against the human corruption of the alien technology, and they ended up using nuclear weapons basically to take down the controller computer, controller AI, and so uh, and then the AI, of course, fought back, and so it also used nuclear weapons against the humans. And so I put a lot of work into. Oh, dang it! I looked around for you. So I put a lot of work into trying to see if there was like reports or maps or stuff like that on what would happen during nuclear war and what parts of the what parts of the earth would be spared. And so I've actually set them in an area that supposedly would be, oh, there's glass, right. In an area that wouldn't likely be hit by nuclear fallout. And so that's the territory they're in. I mean, it might, but I try to. Ooh, my metal spikes mod. I love the metal spikes mod. Padded gloves. I don't need those. Don't need a stone spear. And yeah, and so that's kind of the world they're inhabiting at the moment. And so they don't necessarily have access to the super advanced technology that used to exist. Not super, I guess. That Earth didn't make it to super advanced. It made it to more advanced than now, but not like Star Trek level. In fact, part of the storyline is that the first two warp capable or space folding, I don't remember what I said, ships were the colony ships, and one of the ships uh, appeared to launch as it was supposed to, and then the other ship um, kind of exploded. But I think I'm gonna reveal that it did explode, but that was because the aliens attacked, and now they're caught in a time loop because the engines affect space and time, right? And so they're still in warped space or folded space or whatever. And so I don't know. I don't know if they'll figure it out. I mean, if they don't, it's not a big deal. But it's going to be a fun little tidbit when they get to it, if they get to it. And that's going to be that they're going to overhear on a radio when they get down into the CDC where the information is, and they're going to catch little radio, well, not a radio, but a report from the second missing colony ship, reporting that invaders have, or that they've been boarded by non-humans, and then they'll hear the attack happening on the bridge as the ship is going into folded space, and then it'll just repeat itself again a few seconds later. Not that this ship necessarily is coming back out, but the signal itself is being repeated by the space time anomaly that was caused by the improper launching of the second colony ship. But they might just be caught in time over Earth there, should the game ever get into space. It might. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. I don't have a big plan in my head for what's happening. I come up with the scenario, and then dang it. I come up with a scenario in my head, and then I'm like, all right, so we'll see where they go. Like, going into this city, I didn't plan on that. They did that. And then when they're like, all right, so we're going to go, I'm like, all right, so now I've got to come up with this city. So let's see. Seriously, you are over the hump. I can't tell if I hope I'm not hitting my bike. Why is this ground sound like iron? So I was just trying to think of, because of how they access the city, when they did access it, I was just like, man. So the city's got so the city's got an access to it that they're entering from underground. So somehow this city has to be underground, right? Come on, get over this hill. Look, I'm sorry I came this way, okay? I'm sorry that you can't drive forward. What? I don't understand. He's not really hung on anything. Yeah, so that's why they're in a hole in the ground, is because there was an access to the city from underground, and I'm like, well, I can't imagine that the city itself is necessarily just going to be underground. I'm like, oh, maybe they're open to the sky. And then I found this cool picture of a terraced city in China that is abandoned, and it's all overgrown with vines and stuff, and it's on terraces, and I'm like, that is my city. I mean, it's not going to be covered in vines and stuff, but it's going to be in a terrace inside of a chasm or a canyon or a sinkhole, whatever. But yep. All right, with that, I think I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna take this guy home and unload, but I'm gonna end the episode here. So be better in the small things, lean into the light, and I will talk to you later.